welcome to tonight's episode of Reroll. As you can see, we have a massive amount of guests, and also I am not at home. I've been kidnapped, and I'm sorry.
He's fine. Everything's fine.
So, as you can see, we've got Dom Noble here with us, who has actually guest starred on the podcast before, which was episode 19, if you ever want to
19.
watch it.
Crowning moment of my career.
It's true. But we have also got our wonderful Jamie, who plays Indigo. We got our wonderful Matt, who plays Kill. And then this man showed up, and I'm not super sure.
But he has a kitten, so we.
But yeah, he was like, guys, this cat, can I play too? And we were like, I guess.
He's so long.
Long way.
Oh my god! The longest boy.
Extra. What up?
All right, I gotta open this on my phone so I can monitor the chat.
Monitor the chat.
Gotta monitor the chat.
Charge. Sorry.
Okay, we got it, guys. All right, so this week we're just gonna start. Obviously, we're gonna put Sal on the spot and make him
fuck.
recap the previous episode.
Can do. So, where last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, the Bared Souls, they'd finally sort of dealt with one of the council members of the Knights Round, the group of miscreants who served under Lord Ilan the Sovereign of Aberlock, in the province of the Blackworld in the kingdom of Naladai. And on this night, just before they had battled with the councilman Laron, they had just narrowly escaped the clutches of death, at least Sirakas Thelani narrowly escaped the clutches of death at the hands of Councilman Theron, thwarted by the quick thinking of our friend Kill, the Turtle, and the absolutely just deadly aim of Indigo the Satyr, who was without mercy in slaying of Councilman Laron. Once they had done away with one of the three councilmen, they sort of all collectively hid back into the mountainside of the Tempest Peaks, the neighboring mountain range that sort of surrounds the town of Aberlock. And in doing so, they were able to find respite and rest here on this night. As they woke, Kill received some sort of a dream-like message and connection with Gore's Black Tongue, one of the sort of nefarious individuals that they have already came into contact with throughout their travels. And through this sort of dream-like connection that Kill seems to have with Gores, he learned a few new key bits of knowledge that would allow them to better traverse this terrible landscape of Aberlock in this sort of horrible government situation, for lack of a better term. As they woke, they found that they were one member less, as Cassander, the halfling bard, decided after receiving a sort of an omen about her family's future, decided to take little Rennie, the young man who they have been helping here in this sort of little quest throughout the past couple of days, took him to safety across the land of Naladai, back to hopefully find her family members who possibly could be in danger, but at the very least to remove Rennie from this awful situation, as he almost died in the battle against Councilman Laron as well. As the team sort of decided that now it's personal, they made a plan to infiltrate back into the town of Aberlock, as no doubt the Black Hand Guards, the men and women who serve under Lord Ilan are certainly looking for them, as they had slain one of the higher-ups in the town. And for whatever reason that Lord Ilan has, is still rather taken with the presence of the Bared Souls here in the town. So they comprised a plan to sneak around to the sort of slum-like areas of the outskirts of Aberlock, and to try to find someone that they could rendezvous with to sort of plant the seed of rebellion amongst the people. And they did so. Sirik has successfully sort of infiltrating the outskirts, made a couple different connections after a series of rather tough charisma checks and stealth checks as well, seemingly possibly discovering some sort of slumbering creature not too far away from the outskirts of town up in the Tempest Peaks. But that's neither here nor there. After sort of making the connection with some of the less fortunate members of the town of Aberlock, they decided to move further into the town proper to hopefully rendezvous with the blacksmith Autolycus, a silver-scaled dragonborn who seems to be a prominent member of the society of Aberlock that feels a certain way about the sovereign rulers, a very similar way perhaps as our intrepid adventurers. After a series of stealth checks and very potent invisibility spells, they succeeded in infiltrating and penetrating into the town proper. They spoke with Autolycus, decided that he would go ahead and find his cache of many different weapons and armors and distribute them discreetly as best he could to the people of Aberlock, and hopefully sort of inspire them to rebel just behind the coattails of our intrepid adventurers. Finally, they made the choice to infiltrate Lord Thorn's estate once more, after having been given some more information from Gore's Black Tongue by the connection between him and Kill. And in doing so, they finally found both the sort of cellar situation and decided to return there once they found more information, as they couldn't necessarily move much further into possibly the catacombs beneath the estate. So they went back upstairs into the dining room and finally at the door of what they figured out to be Councilman Ibrahim's study in. They broke in and chaos ensued as many traps were triggered as they were trying to collect as much information as they could. They quelled a set of animated armor that seemingly was set to defend this study should it be broken into, and many different enchanted traps awaited them, which they survived, thankfully. And Kill, in particular, narrowly escaped being teleported or at least a mile away into the mountain range at the hands of one of these traps that Ibrahim had set. So we left them off, sort of just standing in the middle of the study after having quelled the traps and making a whole fuckload of noise. So who knows what might be awaiting them tomorrow night. But there you go.
Very good.
Yeah, Max.
Oh, there's so much.
Oh.
Have the police come? Nika 2-6, the
They
cop
parked
came.
directly in front of Michaela, and
No worries. Me too.
I'm excited for what is feeling like the end of this arc and like the prep for the next arc. I think it's going to be very good. You've definitely like done a very good job of like building your momentum with this arc. So I feel like going forward from here, like the stakes just somehow are continuing to rise, even with the removal of like Rennie, who was obviously like a very high stakes character, and then Kiss as well. Again, a very high stakes character. You've still managed to kind of maintain the same level of tension, even with having less pieces on the board.
I feel that.
I feel like we kind of hit the like low point of like, oh, all is lost. What are we gonna do now? And now we're kind of back up to the final climax.
At your darkest hour.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's very clear the party is suffering slightly for not having any cool like warlock B-shifters hanging around with his own sort of quirky backstory and stuff. But like, you're doing your best despite that.
Yeah.
So, it's all you can do really.
It's very
no
true.
kind of horse character.
Without the influence of horse.
Yeah.
A lot of real lack of horse representation in the
True.
See, unfortunately, that isn't actually even true because Kill did transform into a horse.
That's true.
And seemed to do like a really, really effective job of that.
Thank you, Aaron.
Chat,
Wow.
chat. Let me know if you can hear me now.
For you.
Yeah, yeah, no, I wasn't expecting to be like attacked like this.
Ooh, it shouldn't come on the stream. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I just checked it, but
okay.
yeah, and then so let me know if you can. Yeah, we're good. Cool.
Thank you, fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. And also thank you to Arthur Philip Dent for subscribing again.
Woo, yeah, very cool.
Yay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Howlers.
Oh, and thanks, Aaron, or whatever. I think.
Oh, yeah, always cool.
All over. Wow. Good thing it's hardwood.
Water.
And now,
And now it's on the floor.
Mhm.
it's on the floor now.
Yeah. You have a drought in California. You have to be careful.
That's why the lawns are so brown.
Yeah.
Everything's brown here.
Don't waste it.
Not just kidding.
Not my skin, no, I'm still pale like a ghost.
Very pale. All right. Did we have some questions?
We had some from Sir Garrett Hadwin actually. So
Okay.
I'll pull them up from Discord and get it going.
Perfect.
Okay, so question number 1. Why do we think that Blacktongue wants to know who Thorn serves?
It's a good question. What do you all think about that?
Let's discuss.
It's just nosy.
I think. I mean, I assume that whatever entity that Thorn serves is some sort of antagonist to Blacktongue, whether that's like another god or something else. It's the fact that we have like stones that can like call this call this person whenever we want, or like or that the elders do apparently is. I don't know. I mean, I guess I feel like Sal. I feel like the gods in your world are a lot more present than they are in maybe some others kind of settings where there's just kind of like you like hear about gods, but
Like regular god.
But here they just kind of like come down and like talk to you quite a bit. It seems like.
Yeah. So, I think that that is true. Because this is not something that I've necessarily delved into when it comes to parts of like my lore for the game and everything. But the pantheon is multi-layered. So there are 3 sort of tiers to the deities and the divine and stuff. And you can think of the gods that are very sort of reachable, I guess. The ones that you can literally just sort of call up, should this be a god or whatever, or just a very powerful person or patron or whatever. Because there are many options with who this person could be. If you like are familiar with how the warlock class works, or certain paladins or whatever, you don't necessarily need to be
how the warlock class works. Maybe go check out the most recent episode of the podcast.
Hey.
That's a very good call.
Mhm.
Thanks for the plug, Aaron.
I'll drop that.
This is not artificer because we refuse to do artificer.
We'll get there. Hey, babe. Everybody, special guest. Beautiful woman in the world.
Wow. Hello.
Oh,
You
Welcome.
can't say no, hi. So the sort of 3 levels there are the demigods, which they're not necessarily half gods, but they are sort of the halfway point between mortality and immortality. Does that make sense? So there are the demigods, which those are the ones that are reachable, for lack of a better term. You can think of them more like the if you're familiar with Catholicism, more like saints. Really, they have the ability to do things, to perform miracles and to be very powerful. But in Catholicism, you pray to the saints and you also pray to God, right? So like whatever. So you could pray to any of these. Bye, Mox. Any of these creatures or demigods or whatever. And then there are the ethos gods, which are the step above. Ethos gods represent more of like a blanketed, they have more reach in their domains. So that would be like, off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember. There's one that can that sort of sees over the entirety of like the process of turning from day to night. In addition to that, they sort of rule over the night sky, and like they're patrons to the winter and to that sort of thing, like cycles. And then there are the Primos gods, which are not necessarily gods, more so like celestial bodies, so like the sun and like the moon and the sea. So these things, they are considered beings, but not in like a personified way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some cultures, like Kills Turtles, revere some of the Primos gods, like the sea specifically, and the moon. The ocean and the moon are sort of like the sort of two twin um, entities of turtle culture that like are the end all be all, right? So that's why Kill really likes to be outside when he sleeps, because he needs to be under the light of the moon. He sort of sees that as, and as do all turtles, or at least most of them, see that as like a blessing to them. So the reason why some of these gods, right? So I mean, they are gods, but there are sort of three levels. So like, you can't reach Jeff Bezos, but you can call whatever dude at Amazon, you know,
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's how that works.
Very cool.
So C-Day and all of them, where do they fit in your hierarchy here?
All of the gods that have directly interfaced with any of the characters are demigods.
Okay, because like I believe Mother Alessandra had said that like C-Day had not interacted with humanity in like 200 years or more. Because that was why the ring wasn't likely to have been directly created by C-Day. It was likely someone who had invoked him to create it on like his behalf. Right?
Yeah. So off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact sort of how the timeline is.
If only you knew your own lore as good as
I know. Well, I'm glad that you're here. But yeah, so it is known, at least in most of the scholastic circles of, you know, the religion, or like just like the pantheon of Petrichor, that there are some demigods that are much more likely to interface with mortals, and then there are others that are considered, you know, less than ideal to interface with. And there are, you know, old stories that tell why it's more, or rather, it's why it's less likely that some of them interface with mortals, whether that be of their own volition or because they were sort of banished to certain realms, or, you know, pocket realms or what have you. And C-Day in particular, because C-Day is probably the most misunderstood god, in terms of whether or not he's righteous or not. That's a big sort of reason for that. People invoke C-Day a lot because there's always someone seeking vengeance. There's always someone who wants to be an avenger, but whether or not C-Day answers that call personally, at least up until now, has been either extraordinarily rare that someone hasn't heard about it, or it hasn't happened.
Right.
But we know that it's happening right now.
Yeah. So, Matt, what was your guess as to why Gores really wants to know who Thorn is working for?
I have a feeling that Gores is simply interested in power and or oddities. I mean, there might be somebody like from his past that he's specifically like in sort of an antagonist relationship with, that he's wondering if you know, maybe he's got a theory about who this could be. But I also think that it could simply be like, I sense a disturbance in the force and I'm wondering what the fuck it is. Because he seems to be like, he sort of harvested all of the like the interesting flora from that part of the Evergrays. Or I'm sorry, that wasn't the Evergrays. That part of the island of Moor. He seems to be kind of, and obviously his sort of home was full of things that were kind of went unidentified, but certainly the one thing I was able to grab as he was kind of packing up shop was a potion of reasonable or of significant rarity. So I think it could simply just be sort of intrigue at, you know, a kind of a powerful, strange being, and you know, how he might be able to use that to his advantage.
Right. He definitely seems to just kind of, more than anything, just want to be in the know because knowledge is power.
Dude's been cooped up at home for a long ass time. He just wants to get out there and, you know, spill the tea.
Hell yeah, as we all do.
Blacktongue, give me the tea.
Do you have any tea?
A bunch of rats just start scuttling out of the gutter, and they're like, "Where's the tea?"
Yeah, speech.
What's the tea, girl?
Damn, what a missed opportunity on my end.
I love
Really, Gores is secretly just Linguini / Remy, just running around here,
Controlling.
fucking just looking for more info.
Oh man. Oh, speaking of that, actually, not to go off on a tangent, but I gotta tell you, one of my favorite fucking moments of this like arc was returning to Rennie when you all left him, and Gores being able to possess him, and that sort of like interaction where everyone except for Kill was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And Kill was like, "He's not hurting him."
It was fine.
Like, we can chill. And everyone was like, just pressed, which I loved. I love seeing really visceral reactions from my players. And I mean, whether that be just of joy or really just anything, I really love the authentic sort of outbursts when, not necessarily when you don't expect something, but just like when you're actually presented with something that like really informs or really urges you to make informed decisions about your character, like spontaneously. And that was one of them. A lot of I've been noticing a lot of those happen when Gores sort of makes himself known. So that's always been fun.
He's a scurry dude. What can you say? He's scurry. Can't. And he fucks with kids, so
Which like I don't love.
He has no fear.
Alright, hold on.
With kids.
I don't know if I like that.
With kids.
He was sparing this young child from experiencing this whole interaction. Like, y'all had to like deal with him and like get worried and freaked out, and I'm like, look, he just basically put the young lad to bed for adult time.
Sure, yeah. It seems fine. When you say it like that, it's nothing. You know?
Yeah.
Totally fine.
He's just napping.
Yeah, I mean, we never really had an opportunity to kind of play this out, but I think that Indigo would probably not want to. Would probably not want Rennie to really know that Gores was in him in the first place, and also would not really want him to know about the deal that I made to like protect him, because that would like make him feel bad.
So fair.
All right, question 2, Meeks.
Yes. Also, Auntie B said she has enough for an NPC. Are we scared?
Ooh,
That's my question.
I also have enough I think I almost have enough for 2 NPCs.
Spend your points. Oh my god.
I keep getting busy on Wednesdays, and then I'm like, I have to do a real work and shit.
You're hoarding, and that's what you're doing. Spend them. I will judge.
I hope so. I guess we'll see how this plays out. But like what I would love to have happen is I somehow get locked in a room with Ibrahim, and just be like, seems like you're the only target. Sure would suck if some savage wild surges happen right now.
Oh,
and just like 6 go off at once.
Oh, and you know that it would.
Ooh,
For sure.
ooh.
It turns out Dom also has enough for a NPC, so I think you should definitely have an episode where you remove the cap on it and just let us all fill the episode.
Room just filled with these random NPCs.
For sure.
So I forget what they're called now, but the anti-party of us, was that just like someone just like cashing a bunch of points for all that? Or was that, like,
it was like 5 different people. I think.
Yeah, I think it started off with my buddy Eric. He is very active in chat, and so he wanted to he had enough for an NPC, and he wanted to, because he loves Garrett and he loves cats.
He really does.
He cannot get enough of Siricast. It's
Mhm.
fucking hilarious. And so, like, whenever he spends points, it's usually to benefit Garrett in some way or whatever. And so he had enough for an NPC, and he was like, I want to make, I just want to make Kaz, but like evil Kaz or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're both big Yu-Gi-Oh fans, and so there was a character in Yu-Gi-Oh GX named Chaz Princeton.
That's what it's
and he
from.
called, yeah, and he called himself the Chaz.
Oh my god.
So he was like, "Oh, it's perfect. We can just call Kaz's evil character Chaz, and then we'll just make his little thing from the show, which was Chaz it up."
I love it even more now. It's
from
incredible.
then, the rest of the chat, like Auntie B and like a couple others, were like, "Oh, we have enough for NPCs. We should also make evil versions of the party."
The whole party.
And naturally, that just turned into Michaela being like, "Hey, they all want to redeem these at the same time."
Mhm.
And I was like, I really love that. However, injecting 5 or 4 characters all at once was rather difficult, and I didn't want to sort of like. I think it was right at the height of them dealing with Desmua and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, give me a second. Like, I hear all of that. So we had correspondence like through me, through Michaela, and with chat. So I was like, no problem. I will let you guys know when to redeem it. I just didn't want it to happen like in the middle of them like fighting Desmua or like some super tense situation. You know what I mean? Just because it was like the first arc.
It felt like the end game portals where like you're like, redeem them now, chat, and they're like, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it was super fun for chat. I mean, it seemed like it was.
It was really hyped.
It was like it was sort of post arc. It was like in a couple of the episodes where we were traveling from the island to the mainland, and so like it felt like the cool little filler episode. But yeah,
very cool. All right, and then we'll go on to the second question from Garrett. Oh my god, Extra put in so many questions as well. So maybe let's. Okay, we'll do that.
Garrett, I want to hear what Extra has to ask.
Yeah, let's do Extra's first question. They said, sorry. Blacktongue seems to be one of the bigger NPCs in the campaign. What are all of your guys' thoughts on what Blacktongue will do / be by the end? Maybe excluding Sal because DM powers. So,
Word.
Yeah.
My theory his real name is actually Purple Tongue. That's all I got.
Oh my god.
Have you been reading my notes?
Hey man.
Jesus Christ. How did you get into my Google Drive?
Yeah, he hacked.
His persona is much more black, so he's like, I'm just going to change my name, but he hasn't got around to legally changing it yet. So, like, basically his YouTube name.
Yeah.
Dom doesn't recognize, he doesn't have the history to benefit from, so that he doesn't know that Sal has a penchant, a great love for just naming characters Black and then like an appendage.
Amazing.
I think the third Black appendage character, there's at least one Pokemon evolution of like Frostbite, because there's Black Thumb, Black Toe.
There was Gray Thumb.
Gray Thumb.
And then there was also like
you're just remembering incorrectly.
And then there's also like a Black Toe. Yeah, but Gray is just ashy black.
There's Gold Toe, there's Gold Toe,
Thumb.
there's Gray Thumb, and there are the Black Hands.
Black Hands, okay. Yeah, okay, see?
Okay.
It was in there. Makes sense.
It's the easiest way to name people like NPCs or like, groups or whatever. It's just like if they want to have a moniker, pick some color on the wheel and then an appendage, boom, no problem.
Very good.
It works.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna just gonna go like full like lich in that he's just gonna kind of like dissolve into like a big old magic goo and then just be like, and I'm a dragon now.
Solid
Dragon
guess.
time.
Dragon time.
I'm a
Dragon time.
now. I don't know, man.
It's a dragon now.
I like that one.
I think him and Kill are just gonna be boys and just spend the weekends, chilling on the couch, smoking down.
Yeah. Saturdays are for the boys.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Auntie B said, clearly he's gonna drown them all in soup. True. That is the end game.
He actually has just been trying to gather enough money to fund his culinary education.
Oh my god.
He just really wants to make stew for the masses.
I do need to put.
I think up to the point. I mean, Indigo has been like they're certainly not very trustful of Black Tongue. Like, I mean, he killed Gretel, which he was not very happy about. But like, I think he kind of sees it as like, with someone who has this much power and like, I mean, to his knowledge, like, could have just killed Rennie if he wanted to, maybe. Like, he's kind of taking the point of like, let's negotiate with this creature, and at least for right now, because we can't really. I mean, at least it's the way I think the way Indigo sees it, it can't really fight him yet.
Right.
Without doing more.
True.
For sure. I will say, I won't say much at all, but he was in prison for a long time, and he's very powerful, and he had a long time to think about what he would do if he was able to get out. Mm-hmm. So he's not just sort of flying by the seat of his pants, if that makes sense. There are certainly things that have come up where he's like, oh, that's very interesting, i.e. like, you know, the whole situation with Ilan and the Bared Souls in general. And then in addition to that, like being able to, like, he just sort of made a deal with Indigo where he's like, oh, you have an ability that like I have never experienced before, and it's very interesting, and I liked how it felt. So, you know, those are his sort of like, he's a chaotic person, for sure. Yeah. So he's not above going off and like being like, oh yeah, like you want to make a deal? Like, yeah, I'll fucking do that as long as you let me feel what that felt like every once in a while. You know what I mean?
So Mandel on Deal or No Deal.
Exactly.
Mandel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I know American culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deal or No Deal, the height of American culture.
It's really popping off right now.
I love Black Tongue because he's just like cool and interesting, but also he's the one person on this whole goddamn continent that Kill actually like understands. Like I feel he's sort of like I feel like they're sort of contemporaries in the way that they think in a way, but he's just like, you know, creepier and meaner. But in terms of like, you know, in terms of like sort of the way that they think about the world, I think there's a lot of similarities that, you know, Kill doesn't see in the rest of these inhabitants. So
it is only,
you know, obviously he's clearly very powerful, and he clearly is ultimately selfish, and so, you know, they have to be respected, you know, in a sense of like you can only trust them to a certain degree. But yeah, I just like I said, man, they're just gonna get an apartment together, you know, by the time this is all over.
Yeah,
just gonna hang out, you know, go to Trader Joe's on the weekends. It's gonna be chill.
Hell yeah.
I personally just love how fucking gross he is. Like, he's just shitty.
He's vile.
I just hate him. I don't like having him around. I don't like it when Sal does his voice. It makes me very uncomfortable, and I fucking love it. Like, I love just how much he is hateable. Like, he comes on and he's like, I'm gonna possess this child. I'm gonna rape this woman. Oh, her kid died? Fuck her, I guess. That sucks. Have some stew. It's magic. Fuck you guys. And I'm just like there's nuance to him, but it's all evil nuance, and I love that.
Yeah, I forgot he was a rapist.
Like, oh, yeah.
And his daddy beat him. Like, no, it's just like he sucks, and all you're gonna find is that he sucks more as you dig deeper into his past, and I love that.
I mean,
isn't that close when he was like, I forget what you say. It was some kind of dialogue. Was like, am I enticing to you? I was like, you are currently in a child, sir.
So no.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
We also got a first time chat from Lizzie the Queer Lizard asking what the fuck is going on, which I don't know how to take, if it's like a what the fuck is going on or a what the fuck is going on. Which you're right. Yes. So, but also just to recap, we're doing, this is our weekly talk show. We talk about our D&D podcast that we do every night on Wednesdays. We're just recapping last week's episode so that we can catch up before tomorrow. You should stop in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, yes, happy fucking Pride, guys.
Happy Pride.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
What's up?
Word.
Hell yeah. So yeah, glad you're here. Come see us tomorrow.
Well, do we want to do another Garrett question, or do we want to do another extra question?
Y'all's choice.
We can hop in between.
Okay, sure.
Okay, let's do another. Well, we have another 12-ish minutes.
Cool. Okay.
Rapid
I
fire.
think keep with extras questions.
Yeah.
Keep with extras.
Let's take
Okay.
one? Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Fuck
I
Garrett.
think viewers get
the next
precedence
one-
over the cast.
Yeah,
questions.
that's true. It's true.
Word.
The next one is what are your guys' favorite class / multi-classes? And Extra's favorite is wizard.
Hell yeah. On the latest episode of the podcast, I exclaimed, and which is still true, that the warlock is my favorite class. It's just the best one. I love it so much.
That's fair. Okay. Mika, you haven't played too much, but do you have a favorite of what you've experienced so far?
I have to say, I have like a soft spot for druids just because they're so beautiful and like ethereal beings who are in touch with nature. That's a vibe. I like it. So that's probably been my favorite to watch, and I haven't played one yet, but I just like watching him, I think. The art is also cool, so.
What about you?
I am very partial to the swashbuckling rogue.
Ah.
That's the longest character I played because I bonded with him very quickly.
Okay.
I do love sneak attacking.
Mm-hmm.
Feels real good.
Yeah. Those extra 3d6 of dice really just feel good in the hand.
Uh-huh.
Fuck yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. When I have to balance some of these combat encounters, especially with the early levels, Garrett was ripping through everything I was putting at the party. It was very clear that Garrett around was doing 2 to 3 times as much damage as anyone else.
Yeah.
It was crazy for a while.
Low-level rogues are super good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
It definitely feels good for a long time. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jamie.
It's a tough one. I think I'm probably partial to the sorcerer, just because they have wild magic, which is super fun, and just a lot of their just the different I like the flavor of the different sorcerer subclasses.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff.
Yeah. I did like playing around with the sorcerer subclasses as well when I was trying to make my own character for I think our side campaign. But yeah. And then B Monk said artificer is the only correct answer. So
Artificer's fun.
a man after
I
Aaron's
mean-
heart.
Very partial. Yeah. Oh, B Monk knows. B-Monk
Absolutely.
knows what's up.
Mhm.
I'm very partial to the artificer, just in principle, and especially after they rebalanced it with Tasha's. I think it's so much more playable now because when they originally did it, it was just a hunk of garbage that was here you go, I made a spoon and I can bap you on the forehead with it, and
Mhm.
I'm useless in combat and kind of there's nothing here to help you in role play either. They were here's the coolest concept ever. We threw it through the shredder and gave you a hunk of garb. It sucked. I was so mad about it. Personally, I do really like playing wizard. And one of my favorites that I got to play and kind of got forced to play was actually an abjuration wizard, which at the beginning I was so pissed about because a low-level abjuration wizard is the most garbage woman in the entire world because she's I cast a little shield, woohoo! But then a high-level abjuration wizard is cast that fucking the orb spell that has 17 layers and each one of them does a different kind of damage, and it's this magical whole ass thing. It's the craziest spell ever, and it's just they're very good when they get higher level.
Mhm.
As my
Word.
personal friend Joe Cat says, fireball is all you need in any
It's
situation.
true. It's true. Fireball is all you need.
It's very true.
Mhm. It's a staple. And then Auntie B said, I wish I knew more about artificers. When's the artificer podcast, guys?
When you
Maybe I'll
guys vote for it in the Discord.
Are we able
People
to
have
vote
not
this
been
week?
voting for it in the
Okay.
Discord.
So get to voting, y'all, and we can talk about
there every week, I
artificers.
think.
Go into the Discord.
Mhm.
Find Matt's question of, hey guys, what do you want this week? And then go into the reactions and find the little gear cog
Mhm,
and
mhm.
click it, and we will get the
putting it-
artificer episode.
I'll tell you.
I'm putting it on a little steampunk platter for you. All you got to do is fucking, do the thing,
Mhm.
and then we'll talk about artificer.
If you look at what the voting is at right now,
Mhm.
Barbarian is in the lead.
Oh my goodness.
Someone just voted for Artificer.
It was me. I forgot.
Boom.
Word.
For the
You got
sake
my
of
vote.
Artificer.
for the sake of saving my opinions for the podcast, I'm going to resist the urge to comment on everything everybody said. But
Fair.
for sure, I love. It's probably either. Well, I've never played a sorcerer. I feel like I'd really, really love having meta magic. I dream of playing a sorcerer at some point. But it's probably druid. Probably druid is my favorite class.
Mhm.
Druid
Duh.
suck,
Fucking love
baby.
warlocks though too,
They
man.
suck.
It's kind of like a. I think like flavor wise, it's either druid or warlock, and mechanically, it's. I'm thinking I would really vibe with a sorcerer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I get it. I get the vibe. Do we have another? Wait, do we have time for
There's
another
one
question?
more extra, which was just, do people have a favorite like
Oh, cool.
sub?
Okay.
Oh, and he asked about multi classes too. I'll just
Yeah.
say real
Yeah.
quick, we did mention on the podcast last week as well. I think it was Extra that asked. Was it Extra that asked the question? If we would comment on, or we do like a ranking on multi classes.
I think it was extra.
Yeah, so we'll definitely work that into a future podcast
Mhm.
episode. I will say that for sure, like probably the one that like I think about the most, just because it's way too fucking easy and it's broken, is the Hexblade 1 Paladin 19 or whatever. Like
Yep.
basically one
It
level of
is
Hexblade
nuts.
and then just a fucking pile of Sorcerer and Paladin levels. Is broken, and I almost commented in the Discord earlier because I gave my 2-second recommendation on how to, what I would change to the Warlock, and I'll just say that I would definitely also change up Hexblade a little bit so that they get that at probably level 3 with
Mhm.
Pact
Right.
of the Blade,
Mhm.
Right.
because otherwise it's just too tempting. I don't think there should be any multi-class builds that are so obviously better than single class builds that you feel
Yeah.
like you have to do it. And if I was playing a Paladin, I would feel like I had to go one level of Hexblade and 19 levels of Paladin. So
When I was running Tift, we actually had quite a few multi-classes. But one that I really enjoyed was Bard Cleric multi-class, which I know how we all feel about bards.
mhm.
Flirty.
We love them. We've said multiple times that we love the class. We just think that they suck.
Yeah.
But not in a cool way. Not
Yeah,
in a fun,
bad
Yeah,
suck.
not bad.
But I
They're
did
flirty.
really like that. I liked the way that one felt and the way that we were able to kind of like work. We obviously had to tweak it, and I think really anytime you want a multi-class, you should speak with your DM and tweak a little bit
Mhm.
so that it like flows like consistently and coherently together.
That's just
I do
cheating.
really fuck with like having a bard cleric like multi-class.
Mhm.
I'm
Very
being
good.
laughed at.
Matt said something dumb.
I just said that's just cheating.
That's just cheating.
Yeah.
That's
Just like,
whatever.
can you take these two classes that don't work together and make them work? Because I want to.
Just make it happen.
Such is life. If you're
But I
having fun, that's
support
all
it. I mean,
that
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever's fun, whatever's good.
Mhm.
True.
Okay. Do we have time for one more from Garrett? Because that was the last of extras.
Yeah, let's hear
Get
it.
it.
Okay. So, he said, "What's Thorin up to in the mines? He clearly has some magical intentions. Is it the Tira Graves, the Elf Door? Perhaps his deity is Lamaun? Is that what? Oh, is that an I? I don't even know this name.
Oh.
Imian? Imun? The Elven God.
Imun.
Oh,
Imun, bitch. Okay, sorry.
Got Bitch?
Bitch. So Imun the Elven God, and he actually just wants to raise his elves up against the crown.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I can't comment on it at all.
Here's
So
what's going
fair.
on. No, yeah, I think the fact that we saw that Thor basically went there right after our like big escape from the town, like definitely seems like there's something important there. Maybe
Mhm.
that's where his patron is or something.
True.
Possibly.
I definitely think it has to have to do with the Tiras, because it would be just like the wild coincidence of being like, I'm interested in this like super like powerful place for some reason that has absolutely nothing to do with the presence of like these dead elf kings would be weird.
Hmm.
This is that like classic situation where like the dude way more powerful than you is like, ugh, I really need your help to go do the thing that I could probably go do in 10 minutes, but I'm far too busy. So it kind of seems like he could have just gone himself and cleared the place out and found the elven crypts or whatever. But on the other hand, like, this is a game, and if the other people did everything for us, it wouldn't be a game. So like, I don't know. You know, it could just be.
I feel like it was a test of some sort to send you guys in there.
We never
But-
actually
Yeah.
talked to him after we went in there. So
Yeah.
Right.
Like
We do
think
know
they
that-
wanted
we do know-
something out of it.
We do know that when they presented the job to us, that Thorn and Ibrahim were kind of making eyes at each other, like, you know, like,
Yeah, they were
did we
putting
do
on
it?
a show, and the way
Yeah.
that I
Mhm.
read that situation was that Ibrahim was like acting really against sending you guys, almost to like goad you into agreeing.
Right.
And he was
It
like,
could
"No,
also be-
don't send them. I hate them. They're so shitty. They can't
Yeah.
do it." So that you guys be like, "Yeah, we fucking can't. Fuck you. Fuck you. We're going." And
It could
which
be
is
fucking
exactly-
anything.
Hmm.
is
It could
exactly
be,
what happened.
It could be like a vampire situation where like you got to be invited in, like maybe because Thorn's got this like creepy magic daddy. He's not allowed in the elven tombs anymore. He's corrupted his soul, and so like
That's
maybe
good.
he can't go there, and he needed us to break our way in. You know?
Maybe he has no
I don't know.
blood.
Can we
and
just
he
talk about how
wanted
Sal's
y'all
an
to go.
asshole?
And put blood on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
was
have
gonna
much.
say, can we just talk about how Sal's an asshole and he puts secret doors that we can't open places, and it drives me fucking insane.
They're just puzzles, right?
They're puzzles you
Also,
can't
they
solve
don't
until
actually
later.
Oh,
Fucking hate
okay.
solution.
Well,
Imagine I come over to your house with a jigsaw puzzle, and I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna dump this on your table, but I'm gonna keep half the pieces until like a year from now.
Yeah, when you can handle them.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fandom
Fuck
library.
that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy right there. He said, or Fandom Library said, how detailed was the statue when the group found it? Because when we've seen Thorn go hunting and absorb the corpse into his axe, maybe he was depositing it at the statue, but had to stop because of the monsters.
Oh, that's a cool theory.
Yeah.
maybe.
You pay attention,
Very
fandom.
cool
I like you.
Yeah.
Venom's ill.
Yeah,
Shouts out to fandom.
that's fucking sick.
That's a very cool theory.
I will
somehow-
say that the statue was not it was not that detailed when they first found it.
Bmong wants to know what Matt thinks of the new Magic D&D set.
The Baldur's Gate one or the Forgotten Realms one?
Great question. Probably is
Great
Forgotten Realms the new one?
Baldur's Gate is the new one. That's not
Oh.
out yet. First of
Yeah.
all, thank you for asking me a Magic the Gathering question. Appreciate it very much. I actually don't know much about the Baldur's Gate set, so I won't respond.
Mhm.
Forgotten Realms was very cool. It had like a it introduced like D20 mechanics on the cards, which is a brand new thing for Magic. I have a soft spot from when I was a kid. I built a coin flipping deck, which is
Oof.
another thing that's very uncommon in the game.
Mhm.
And I lost with it almost every time because I was terribly unlucky with it. But it's still like it's the one deck that I've torn apart and rebuilt a billion times because I just love it so much, even though I always lose. So having that like D20 thing was kind of fun, and just because obviously we've all gotten really into D&D, or at least I have in the last couple years. It's fun to see these kind of characters and spells and things on cards. So
Yeah.
I really liked Forgotten Realms. I don't own any of it in paper, but I play on Arena, and I have quite a bit of it on there.
Very cool. And yeah, he was talking about Baldur's Gate apparently. So
Yeah,
But-
I don't know a damn thing about Baldur's Gate except I played the game Baldur's Gate
Yeah.
on PC when I was a kid, and that was cool. So
New one coming out that soon, isn't there?
what's that?
Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out now.
New Baldur's Gate coming out soon on the Mickey
Mhm.
game.
maybe
Hell yeah.
we'll play it on the
I'll-
channel.
When I get a look
Ooh.
at when I get a look at the
I
Baldur's
was gonna
Gate
say,
set, I'll
it's multiplayer, so we'll just get everyone to play all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it'll be a
That'd be cool.
disaster,
Classic.
and everyone's PC will melt.
and when I get a look at the Baldur's Gate set, I'll holler at you and let you know what I.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
Cool.
Very cool, guys. Just one more from Extra. They said, I kind of want to make a stupid fucking barbarian that during the entire campaign tries to become a wizard by attempting to read some spell books and learn spells. So
That, I mean, that's a Garrett Hadwin character if I ever.
I'm
That
pretty
is
sure
that is a Garrett character for sure.
I'm pretty sure me and Garrett talked about this before, so you're on the same page.
Literally, one of the characters in Tift was technically he was a monk, but just like literally like ham-fisted his way into learning spells.
Yeah.
And was like a secret
Classic.
demigod, and then all of a sudden could do a little bit of magic and was like, wait, actually, no, I hate it. Take it away. I can't be responsible with this. Goodbye.
Very
Word.
good. All right. So, how we feeling? That good? Good?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're ready for fucking tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, we
I'm
feel caught up.
I'm gonna kill every single one of the players.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. TPK tomorrow. Tune in 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/a little dicey D&D.
Hell yeah. The
Hell
NPCs
yeah.
will rise. Fucking yes.
Will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and if you are B-Monk and B-Monk only, it is at 5 p.m. Central Standard, baby!
Hell yeah. Very good, guys. All right, we'll see you tomorrow
Okay.
night. Bye.
Thanks for the questions, y'all.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks,
for the
y'all.
questions. We'll see ya.
Goodbye.
We out.
Hell yeah.